A new era dawns in South Korea with the inauguration of Lee Jae-myung as the 14th president. His path to the Blue House is anything but conventional. Born into poverty, Lee worked in factories as a child, suffering injuries that left him with a disability and exempted him from military service. This challenging start fuels his political philosophy, which he calls Iekgang Bayak, aiming to support the poor and curb the powerful. Lee rose through local politics. He served as mayor of Seongnam and then governor of Gyeonggi Province. There, he implemented innovative policies like a youth basic income program and universal basic income trials. His political journey includes multiple presidential bids. After losing the Democratic Party nomination in 2017 to Moon Jae-in, he ran again in 2022, narrowly losing to Yoon Suk-yeol. But the political landscape shifted dramatically with the 2024 martial law crisis and Yoon's subsequent impeachment. Lee, gaining international attention by climbing the National Assembly fence during the crisis, played a significant role in the impeachment process. This paved the way for his third presidential campaign in 2025, where he secured the Democratic Party nomination and won the election. The Korean peninsula remains divided by the demilitarized zone. This is a 250-kilometer-long, 4-kilometer-wide scar. It was created by the 1953 armistice that ended the Korean War. This isn't a border agreed upon by both sides, but rather a heavily fortified buffer zone. The military demarcation line runs through its center. While technically demilitarized, the areas immediately outside the DMZ are some of the most heavily armed regions on Earth. This is a constant reminder that a peace treaty was never signed. Within the DMZ lie isolated pockets of civilian life. Deseongdong in the south and Kijongdong in the north exist under strict controls. These villages became stages for a silent, decades-long propaganda battle. Giant loudspeakers once blared messages across the border. The rivalry extended to flagpoles. South Korea erected a 100-meter pole in Deseongdong. This prompted North Korea to respond with a towering 160-meter pole in Kijongdong. They flew a massive flag that reportedly weighs hundreds of pounds. From the south, Kijongdong's buildings appear brightly painted and lit, but many are believed to be little more than empty shells. They are part of an elaborate illusion. Adding another layer of tension are the tunnels discovered beneath the DMZ. Since 1974, South Korea has found 4 such tunnels. They were dug by North Korea. These weren't for mining, as the North claimed. They cut through granite and feature reinforcement, electricity, and even railway tracks in one case. Their design suggests a military purpose, intended to allow significant numbers of troops to infiltrate the South. These discoveries underscore the persistent underlying hostility, despite any surface-level diplomatic efforts. Inter-Korean relations haven't been uniformly frozen. There have been periods of cautious engagement, notably under South Korean liberal presidents. The Sunshine Policy led to the first Inter-Korean Summit in 2000. It also led to projects like the Kisong Industrial Region. More recently, the 2018 Panmunjom Declaration sparked hope. It was signed by Moon Jae-in and Kim Jong-un. This led to symbolic steps. For example, dismantling border guard posts, reconnecting roads and rail, and establishing buffer zones. However, these periods of thaw have been fragile. They often collapsed amid renewed provocations or shifts in leadership. We saw this recently with the suspension of military agreements following balloon incidents and rising tensions. Central to South Korea's security posture is its long-standing alliance with the United States, forged during the Korean War. This alliance is codified in the 1953 Mutual Defense Treaty. It involves a significant presence of United States forces Korea. This is currently around 28,500 troops. Joint military exercises are regular fixtures. For example, Freedom Shield and Vigilant Storm. They are designed to maintain readiness. The alliance is often described as forged in blood, highlighting its deep historical roots and perceived necessity for deterring North Korean aggression. President Lee Jae-myung steps into this complex geopolitical landscape with a pragmatic approach. He views the U.S. alliance as paramount for South Korea's security. However, his foreign policy also incorporates a desire for strategic autonomy and practical engagement. He supports continuing peace talks with North Korea, advocating for a conditional rollback of sanctions based on denuclearization steps, echoing elements of past liberal policies. While critical of Yoon Suk-yeol's confrontational stance, Lee also adopts a firm line on issues. For example, illegal fishing or cultural appropriation. This shows a nuanced position. It balances alliance needs with national interests. He also has a cautious hope for eventual dialogue and de-escalation on the peninsula.